So I wanted to talk about yoga as a spiritual practice, not just the yoga class, the asana part of it, but the totality of yoga. Just wanted to get your perspectives on tape.
I can start us off. Okay, so the the word yoga means union or yoking or unification. The earliest mention of yoga has nothing to do with positions of the physical body, which is what most people think of now, but it's about achieving a state of oneness. And all of the practices, which initially were mental practices and then breath regulation practices, and eventually, many years later, some postures, starting with the posture of just sitting still, were intended to allow to foster a state of oneness, which I mean, we talk about that oneness in a lot of different ways now, but originally it's a state of oneness with all, like unification of everything. Um, and now we say, oh, well, unification of the mind and the body, or the movement and the breath, or the individual and the group. But it is at its heart a spiritual concept that we are all connected. I mean, to me, that's what spirituality is. No matter what tradition you come from, it's about connectedness. And that can be connectedness with a divine entity, it can be connectedness with nature, it can be connectedness with all of humanity, but our spirituality is our deeply felt sense of connection beyond the individual ego self. And so while there are a whole bunch of other benefits of all of these yoga practices, like we can have more energy and we can have less pain and we can, like, get down on the floor and play with our grandkids, but that is all second. Those are like side benefits to the initial purpose of feeling connected.
And I agree. And I think in this contemporary time that we live in, that yoga is a practice that is pretty universally applicable to many, many indigenous traditions. So, because it's so popular today, aside from all of the conversations about cultural appropriation, if you get beyond all of that, you see that the study of it is just like Steffany said. It is about this universal connectedness that permeates most indigenous faith traditions. And coming in from a physical perspective, because particularly in Western culture that we live in, everything is materialistic and physical. And so to be able to uh, calm that all down within the body, within the self, is the first place to start. So we're introduced in the West to it being a physical practice. And yet, coming into a physical practice, it actually stimulates this, oh, wow, I feel better. My mind is calmer. I feel less stressed. So all of the other physiological experiences begin to be subtly felt. And then once you're sort of drawn in from this physical perspective, which we have to be because we live in a very materialistic world. So to be able to come from that materialistic perspective, have that experience is enough then to say, okay, maybe there's something greater than self.
I think
Broad.
also we're distracted by our dis-ease and discomfort in the physical body. And so until you have some kind of tools to settle that down, like if I am exhausted and my knees hurt and my back hurts and it's hard to get around, like it's going to be hard for me to still my mind and focus on my breath, because there's too much discomfort and disease. And so the physical practice can help us bring the body into balance so that we have the bandwidth to even pay attention to what's happening more subtly.